Hey guys, it's Dr. Justin Marchegiani here. Today's video is going to be on die-off reactions or the Herxheimer reactions. We're going to talk about what that is and things you can do to actually prevent that from happening. Before we do, put your comments down below. Let me know about your experience with die-off reactions, things that you have done to help as well. Really curious. Make sure you also smash that like button and make sure you hit the bell so you get notifications of my content coming your way in your feed. All right, so let's dive in. What's a die-off reaction or a Herxheimer's reaction? So Herxheimer's reaction, I think that was something that was notated many decades ago with the killing of syphilis, I want to say, via antibiotics. So they would find that when they killed a lot of syphilis bacteria with antibiotics, they would have these really nasty symptoms, whether it's fatigue or malaise or joint pain or cognitive or mood issues or kind of flu-like symptoms, that kind of lethargy. And they noticed there was something to killing off a lot of these foreign bacterial, or it could even be parasitic or even viral microbes too fast. The body gets overwhelmed. Now, why is that? So when you're killing, whether it's a bacterial infection, I see lots of patients with bacterial overgrowth or fungal overgrowth or just a generalized dysbiosis or parasites or worms. When you kill an infection, your immune system has to handle it. Your lymphatic system has to process that and move it along, right? Your lymph's the interplay between the tissues and the blood. Also, your detoxification system has to handle that as well. A lot of times the dead debris in bacteria, a lot of times there's various biotoxins or mycotoxins or lipopolysaccharides, right? Endotoxins. So there's stressors that are not good for your body that are in these foreign compounds, and your body has to handle it. So your kidneys have to flush it out. Your liver has to run phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 detoxification to excrete via the kidneys, the liver, peeing it out, and also moving it out via your stool. So the first thing is prevention. If we're on a program, we're trying to kill an infection or knock down some type of microbial overgrowth, we want to titrate up slowly. So if you tend to be more sensitive, most patients know they tend to be more sensitive, then we just titrate each supplement up one at a time. So in my line, I have various GI clearing herbs with different numbers on them that I use for different types of infections or overgrowths. And we may increase 1 capsule per day of the first supplement, and then we'd hold stable at that maximal dose, and then we go to the next supplement while keeping that previous dose, and we'd increase by 1 capsule each day. Now, if patients are very sensitive, we may, if the goal is, let's say, 6 capsules on my GI Clear 1, we may set it for a goal to get to 3 of the first 3 days. We may start on 1 capsule on Monday at breakfast, and then the next day, 1 capsule at breakfast and dinner, right? Spreading it out further apart. And then on Wednesday, 1 capsule at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If we can get to that, great. If we can't, let's say we have a lot of achiness or malaise on day 3, we may go from 3 caps to 2 caps. And if we're stable, we're good, then we choose our dose, and then we go down to the next supplement. So let's say it's just GI Clear 2. We start on Thursday, GI Clear 2, 1 capsule at breakfast, and then Friday, GI Clear 2, 1 capsule at breakfast, dinner. Saturday, 1 capsule, GI Clear 2, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You kind of get the drift, right? So the goal is to get up to 3 if we're sensitive. If we're not sensitive, to get up to 6. If we're at a sub-maximal level because we're very sensitive, then maybe it's 2. That's our dose. We stabilize, and then we go on. And then if we're at a sub-maximal dose, if we're not at 3 or 6, we're going to hold steady for a whole week, and then we're going to start the process over again and continuing to inch up. The goal is, it's like if you're jumping in a cold shower, it's always easy to jump in a cold shower if the shower is nice and warm, and then you just gently nudge it cold over a period of time. That tends to be the easiest way to get in that shower, right? Versus testing the water with 2 feet. We start at a reasonable temperature and we go slow. So it's the same kind of philosophy. And the goal is we're giving our body a chance to adjust to what's happening, okay? Second thing is we can add additional binders. Now, binders help because binders are going to bind up and sequester a lot of those biotoxins and debris, and that's going to help our body and our stool flush it out in the stool. So if you take activated charcoal or clay, you'll see it in your stool, and that clay is going to bind up to a lot of this dead debris and help pull it out and prevent it from going into recirculation. So you can do activated charcoal, bentonite clay, some citrus pectin. All those are okay to try, some good healthy fibers, and that will bind it up. And you want to take that typically, 2 hours after a meal, 1 hour before a meal, kind of on an empty stomach so it's not binding up other supplements or other types of food. So empty stomach, so it's in there and it has its ability to bind. You can also do things to help with the lymphatic system. So the lymph is where things come from the blood to the tissue. It's that interplay fluid from the tissue and the blood. We want to make sure that's moving. So lymphatic massage is great. Whole body vibration is great. You can even do things like burdock tea or my ginger tea recipe. And we do ginger tea with some lime, and we even do some manuka honey, which has some antibacterial effects, really good. Ginger is an antibiofilm, so it helps the clearing herbs actually kill more effectively. Think of biofilms as the protective shield that microbes have, and we're taking that shield out, and that allows the herbs to come in there and work better and have a better killing effect. So that's very helpful. Ginger is also anti-inflammatory, so it calms down any inflammation that may be brewing in the tummy or in the intestinal tract. And it's also an anticoagulant. It prevents things from sticking, so it keeps things flowing out of the body. So we may do ginger. We may do some burdock root. We may do, there's a tea called Essiac tea, which has some burdock and it has some rhubarb. There's a couple of different things in there. It really helps support the lymphatic system. Those are all very helpful. We may add in some infrared sauna to just sweat some of it out. So we're using the skin, we're pushing it out via the skin, and we're taking stress off the body that way, which can be helpful. Just make sure you shower afterwards with some decent soap. I recommend a 10% sulfur soap that kind of strips the oils that may be connected with a lot of the fat, the fat soluble toxins, so it goes down the drain. If you sweat and you leave it on your skin and you let it dry, it can reabsorb. So make sure you shower afterwards. That's really helpful. So we talked about our lymphatic system. We talked about binders. We may add in support like glutathione. We may add in some extra phase 1 support like my antioxidant supreme, or some liver gallbladder support like my liver supreme, which has things like ox bile, beetroot powder. Beetroot can bind up mycotoxins as well, which is great. It also helps thin out the bile flow. Keeping the bile moving with dandelion root can be really helpful. Phosphatidylcholine, taurine. These are all really good things that keep the biliary flow going, because we will dump a lot of toxins from our liver and gallbladder into the intestinal tract. And so it's nice to keep that flow moving so there's no backup. And that allows the binders that come in our mouth to hit all that toxic bile that may have some junk in it, and it will bind up some of that and help pull it out the intestinal tract. And again, if our bowel movements start getting slow because we're taking binders, we're taking too much, we can always calibrate the dose. But if not, we can always use an oxy powder or high quality magnesium away from food to really keep the bowels moving, because it's really important that your bowels move. You're going to eliminate so many toxins through healthy BM. So if we're keeping our bowels moving, that's going to keep a lot of the toxins moving out in the toilet. So if we recap, first follow my die-off reaction handout, which is that titration protocol. I have a stair-step protocol for sensitive patients, and then the stair-step for the full dose. One's in the middle at 3 caps, one's at the end at 6. So you can titrate through that slowly. 2, we can add in binders. I already mentioned different binders. 3, we can add in detoxification support, whether it's gallbladder support, phase 1, phase 2 detoxification. Phase 2 involves sulfur amino acids and glutathione. That can be helpful. And then number 4, I would say, would be lymphatic support, ginger, burdock root tea, burdock in general, which is in my GI Clear 4, and then also Essiac tea is really good as well. So you really want to look at making sure all of those things are dialed in and supported and part of your protocol. A lot of doctors, when they're working with patients, they really mess that up, or they don't spend enough time emphasizing it. And I find with today's society, there's a kind of a no pain, no gain mindset. So they just kind of ratchet it up and they feel like crap, and they're like, okay, that means something's working, and they just kind of hold on tight and white knuckle it. And it's like, no, you're stressing out your immune system, your detox, your lymphatic, not the best way to do it. But in the thousands of patients I've seen that like to be the majority of all cases. People tend to push it. So I hope that helps. If you're engaging with a detoxification program with your functional medicine practitioner, make sure you follow those tenets. If you enjoy this information, click below, share it. And if you want to reach out to myself and be a patient and dive into this whole set of systems and protocols with myself, click down below. There'll be a link for you where you can engage that way. I hope you enjoyed today's content, and we will open it up for a live Q&A. Really excited. All right, what's happening, y'all? I got you guys lined up here. All right. Could parasites cause really swollen glands in the neck without any symptoms if you start a mild parasite cleanse or a wormwood complex? It could. It could be bacteria too. Remember, in the lymphatic system, there's macrophages which gobble up bacteria, little pac-men, pac-women that gobble up junk. So keep the lymph moving. You can always do some lymphatic massage, which is just gentle kind of strokes on the skin. You can get a lymphatic brush. Just remember, brush everything back to the heart. So if my heart's here, brush everything back to the heart. Okay, that's helpful. And that's where the ginger tea is really good, or some of the burdock or some of the Essiac. Okay, good. I have tingling symptoms in my feet. I've gone to 3 neurologists and everything keeps checking out perfectly. Do you know what might be going on with me? Yeah, well, there's a lot of potential things. I don't have any history. The history would give me the biggest information here. It could be, is it both feet? Is it from just the foot, or all the way from the spine all the way down to the foot? All those things matter. So it could be a structural thing where it's a soft tissue thing in the feet affecting it. It could be a neurological thing at the spine level. This stuff, it could be something with nutrients like B12 or B vitamins. Could be a bunch of things. So we need way more information to narrow that down, but that kind of gives you a couple of good things. Is silver good for SIBO? Yeah, it is. Silver is a really good anti-biofilm, just like ginger, so it's good. Speaking of binders, is there anything females who are doing low carb can do to help protect from non-organic hormone chemicals, meat chemicals? I mean, you could do some activated charcoal or a binder in there. I mean, I just think if you're on point 80 to 90% of the time and you're having maybe a conventional meat at a steakhouse, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I notice when you're taking ginger, it makes my stomach bloat a lot. Already low carb, not sure why organic ginger causes bloating. Yeah, I'm not sure how you're doing it, but we want to just use ginger juice. So you'd want to juice it, just extract the juice, and no fiber with it at all, and then you can dilute it down, add a little bit of Manuka honey and some lime juice, and start from there. Hopefully that helps. Excellent. When I increase my herb doses, I usually get tired and suddenly my vision and memory improves. I usually get tired and my vision and memory improve. How can vision and memory change happen when killing something off? It just could be that the inflammation from the infections was impairing blood flow to that area. It could be just something like that. The infection was causing enough stress that lowering that infectious load helped. It's very possible. It's a little bit more unusual, but I've seen patients improve their gut function and their diet, and a lot of those extra antioxidants and fat-soluble vitamins and A and lutein and all those good nutrients really improve eye health, really improve neurological health. So that's not something that's out of the ordinary, personally. It's very possible. One more question here. Aluminum in food. I don't know what to cover my food with in the oven. I mean, I wouldn't worry about it. Just try not to have your food on aluminum foil. You can do parchment paper is fine. That shouldn't be that big of a deal. You can cover your food with it. I don't see that big of a deal. Try not to have it on it. Just use a Pyrex container, which is a glass container, and then you can just either leave it uncovered or covered, and then if it's covered with aluminum foil, just make sure it's not on it. I don't see a problem with that at all. Good questions. So I saw a patient just recently who had a die-off issue and had a lot of tingling and numbness, right? So the nerves can be very sensitive to a lot of these dead debris. So we have to be very careful. If you have weird neurological issues, weird cognitive issues, weird brain fog issues, the brain has a lot of microglial cells, which are immune cells for the brain, and they clean up a lot of junk. And when we start having a lot of debris past that blood-brain barrier, that can really stress out those microglial cells. They start to activate, and we can start seeing more cognitive or mood issues. So be very careful of that. Just want people to really utilize these protocols correctly and not add more insult to injury. It's already tough when you're feeling kind of crappy and then you're making it worse yourself. That's never the right thing. We never want to make yourself feeling more sick. We always want to work on the healing direction. Done a GI map test, and I'll be booking with you soon. Awesome. Yeah, look forward to working with you. Very cool. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed today's quick little chat. So follow the die-off reaction kind of instructions that I gave you. I hope that helps. And feel free, reach out below, and appreciate the share. You guys have an awesome day. Take care, y'all. Bye.